So the YouTube channel Drawfee, which if you came across this video you probably already know who they are, but they do various art challenges, one of which is the 4 artists design characters based on the same randomly generated description challenge, and I wanted to try my hand at it as well. This is the description they used the most recent time that they did the challenge. This person puts you in mind of a clever fox. They have wide, yellow eyes that are like 2 chunks of aged ivory. Their silky, wavy, vermilion hair is worn in a style that reminds you of a devil's horns. They have a white-chested build. Their skin is deeply tanned. They have small hands. Their wardrobe is tight and flattering with a lot of brown. My immediate thought upon reading this description, because I can only think in terms of Dungeons and Dragons, was a mischievous druid character, maybe even a fae with some kind of fire powers with long cascading hair and a long dress. And then I realized that that's just Fearne Calloway. That's the player character Fearne Calloway from Critical Role, and as much as I like Fearne, I wanted to design someone distinct. So I ended up going pretty much the complete opposite direction with a very villain-coded character with a more masculine build. The color palette being almost entirely browns made me think of an earth elemental or genasi kind of character. And for the pose I used that one hack of using orchestra conductors as reference for spellcasters, which worked surprisingly well. I refined the anatomy a little bit and then got to the little hands part of the description, which threw me for a loop. I considered just ignoring that part, but ended up going for something that I think worked in the end. I was very proud of the anatomical sketch, but when it came time to figure out clothing, the image of this person wearing a giant Ken/Gabriel fur coat hit me like a prophet receiving visions from an angry god, and I couldn't dismiss it. But that means that the white-chested part of the description got kinda lost, unfortunately, and the rest of the clothes are kinda boring. I go back to them a few times though. So this is what I decided to go for the little hands. I thought since they're an earth-themed villain, why not incorporate that into the design more and give them like creepy, spindly tree hands, but I wasn't able to make them as sharp and spindly as I wanted while still recognizably being tree bark, so they're not actually that small in the end. At this point I had been looking at it for too long and on the verge of a delete your art moment, so I decided to throw some color at it to see if that helped before taking a break. Next to the rest of the color palette, the shirt and pants end up looking a little green because they're so desaturated, even though they are actually brown, but I didn't find that distracting enough to change it. And it was at this point after another break that I decided I hated the clothes actually, so I went back to rework them, making the boots taller, adding some texture, some color to the shirt, and just all around making it make sense and look good. At least I hope. And then it was time for the fun final details. I find it easier to find light than to find shadow. Like when I try to shade flats, it always ends up looking a little wonky and the shadows aren't exactly where they're supposed to be. So I instead clip a multiply layer over everything, and I wanted the light to be warm, so I made the multiply layer this cool blue color, and then I go in and erase where the light would hit, which for this one dramatically came from below because I wanted there to be no confusion that this is in fact the villain. And then for the rocks, I wanted them to be glowing red, implying like lava or fire underneath the ground, so I went in with this bright orange, basically the color of the hair, on a screen layer and blurred it. And then fucked around with luminosity and contrast to make them pop a bit more and cleaned it up. And a little splatter background to make it look like an actual illustration that you'd find in like a D&D lore book, and that was it.